fourth attempt at this video. Every time something's gone wrong. Right. I wanted to pick up on a few things that came off the back of the video yesterday. Now, one of the comments, and there's nothing wrong with the comment, was that we're never happy. There's always something we'd like to change. And that's true. There is always something we'd like to change. But that doesn't necessarily mean we're unhappy. I'd like to change my face. It's not particularly the nicest looking thing in the world, and the only reason I've got a beard the way I have is because it distracts from the ugliness of my face. But it doesn't make me unhappy. It doesn't cause me any issues. Just accept that I'm an ugly bastard. I'd like to have a six-pack. But it doesn't cause me unhappiness. And I think therein is the difference. You know, I'd like a bigger bank balance. I'd like a Bentley parked on the drive. I'd like to work less hours. But none of these things cause me unhappiness. And this boils down to this honesty thing and acceptance. You know, we look at ourselves honestly. We review where we are. I don't have the prettiest face. I'm not going to be a supermodel. Believe it or not, I know, it's hard to believe, isn't it? So, can I change that? Well, with a large amount of plastic surgery, probably more than anyone's ever had on this planet, I could potentially improve my looks, but it's not an option for me. So what's my other choice? Accept. So I accept that I look like this, and I move on, and it doesn't bother me. But that is where people struggle. So once we take an honest assessment of ourselves, then we have two choices: change it or accept it. And if you do either of those, then you should be fairly content with yourself. And there's a big difference between a wish list of changes that you'd have in an ideal world to something actually making you unhappy. The other thing that came out of that, now I don't know if anyone commented on this, or it was just my thought process, was the use of certain terminologies in reflection to somebody's physique. So somebody posted a picture up. You see it all the time. Honest reviews, please, but no haters. Well, hang on a minute. If you fart and I say you're fat, I'm then told I'm a hater, when in fact all I've done is being honest. If I say you've got small legs because you've got small legs, then I'm a hater. Or you've got to pull back because you've got to pull back, then I'm a hater. Well, that doesn't mean you don't want haters. You just don't want anything negative because you're a fucking fanny. And you want the world to be pretty and full of unicorns. It ain't. And you don't want to face the truth. And you want to live in your little plastic bubble and pretend and lie and bullshit to yourself for the rest of your life. Crack on. But I ain't going to do it for you. So if you put a picture up online, then people have every right to criticise that picture as long as it's done respectfully. All right. You know, someone chirping up, "Oh, you're a fat, ugly fucking mess." There's no need for that. That's not justified in any way, shape or form. But if someone has high body fat levels, then there's no issue or nothing wrong with saying you carry excess weight, you're fat, you have high body fat levels. There's nothing wrong with that. That's not hating, that's just the truth. And the reason people get upset about comments like that is because they're in denial about how they look, and they put the picture online hoping to get secondary reinforcement about their lies. So I throw a picture, "Fuck me, you look brilliant." No, I don't. I look a sack of shit. But by putting that online, people say I look brilliant. I don't feel as bad about myself anymore. You know, and that's the motivation behind it. People go into competition, ask 7 to 9 people to judge them, and then complain about the results, and then don't ask to be judged. It's very unlikely the judge is biased. It's very unlikely they've got any agenda against you. They just look at a physique and mark it accordingly. And if it doesn't meet the standards, or there's better physiques, then that's where you get placed. It's very rarely politics because you said something negative about that fucking federation 2 years ago. It's a lot of bollocks. There are some politicals, now particularly in the USA, I know it's a lot more of a bigger problem over there, but in the UK, there isn't that much in the way of politics going on in the way people place. Unless you're a big name, and then it changes slightly. But for most of us, it has no impact whatsoever. We're judged because of the way our physique looks or the way we present our physique on the day. And that's it. Simple as. And if you don't like it, don't fucking do it. But don't do it and then moan about it, because that's just bitching. And it's like, you know, look at my gains and there's a picture of you bent over showing your fucking breakfast in a thong and all your ass hanging out. Why don't you just put, look, I'm actually quite insecure, so I want to put up a sexually provocative picture of myself So I get lots and lots of likes and a lot of dick pics sent to my DM because I'm really, really thirsty and desperate, and I need this to survive because I have no self-confidence and I have no belief in myself. Spot on. That's the truth. Everybody knows what you're doing. Nobody's stupid enough to look at that pitch and go, oh yeah, that's a pic of glute gains, or that's a pic of hamstring progress. We all know it's a thirsty pic, so why claim it to be anything else? And all the lads that, oh, you're cracking, you're this, you're full of shit. You're just trying to slide into the fucking knickers. And none of you would be posting those compliments if your fucking missus was stood next to you and watching what you were doing on Facebook. Would they? Bollocks? You know, it's just bullshit, fakery. I don't understand it. I don't understand why people do it. You know, are you that insecure, that desperate for attention? You have to do these things, and then if you are, Jesus Christ, seriously, I'd rather be a fat, ugly mess. I am. I have to live life like that. That's just sad. You need help. You really do. You know. Honest review, accept change. There's the process. Simple as. And you can manage to do that, you'll be pretty happy. You really will. Life will change. Oh, the other thing as well is we spend a fortune, both time and money, in developing the way we physically look. So why don't we spend that same amount of time and money in developing us as people to become a better person? When's the last time we spent the money we spend on gear on a self-awareness course or on some sort of positive thinking or anything that would improve ourselves as human beings? We don't do it. And yet if we did, it would be a lot nicer place to live. We spend all this time polishing the outside that we never think to fix the inside. And the more we polish the outside, the more the inside gets broken. You know, all fur coat and no knickers, as my mother used to say. You know, we end up being a very empty vessel, very fancy and fine on the outside, but no substance or content on the inside because we devoted so much of ourselves to creating the outside. And really we should spend a bit more time creating the inside, because the outside won't last forever. That will crack, that will break, that will age, and then we're left with nothing. Just a very shallow, empty, sad, lonely individual because we never developed the real person underneath the facade. And to me, there's nothing wrong with pursuing physique excellence at all, in the slightest. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But pursue being a better person at the same time as well, because that'll stand you in a much greater stead. Oh, and one last thing. I noticed yesterday that there were a few posts involving blood results and people giving their opinion on blood results, and some of the comments were fair in that there are certain factors that may affect blood results, particularly like having trained close to when you gave blood for the test, or taking a supplement, for argument's sake, within EGFR, so within kidney function. High protein or creatine supplementation can affect creatinine levels in the blood and therefore give a false reading on the kidneys. Increased muscle mass will also affect high levels of creatinine, which again will give a lower reading on EGFR. So that's no issue with that. But I also saw advice like, if you're on oral, stop them, so you get a better test result. Well, that's a bit fucking pointless, really, because the whole idea of the test is to see if what you're doing is damaging you. So if you remove that element that could potentially be causing damage, then the test isn't going to show if it is causing damage, and then all you're going to do is replace that element after you've had the test and no longer the wiser. So you're creating a false economy. You're covering up the problem or avoiding looking at the problem. And people get very defensive when they've got poor blood. And very avoid, or it must be wrong, there must be something I can change. Well, maybe it's not wrong, and maybe you just need to look a little bit at what you're doing. Nothing wrong with taking a step back and checking. Yes, the more muscled you are, and particularly against your frame, the more the normal ranges don't apply. So then you've got to start looking at changes in values more than whether values are out of range. But, if something's showing that it's out of range and it's something like liver function or kidney function, then you need to look at what you're doing and see if there's anything in there that could be impacting that. Or do a follow-up, do a secondary test, or investigate in a different manner. So for argument's sake, for kidneys, do a urine test and see what protein levels are like in there. Urine protein dipsticks are pence, they're not expensive. Just double check things, don't cover it up. That's like cheating for an exam to pass to get a job. Well, you're not going to be capable of doing the job because you haven't learned the knowledge that you need for the job because you cheated at the exam. So what was the fucking point in the first place? So by all means, remove influencing factors that affect the results that aren't of concern with what you're testing for, but don't change basic stuff that the test is there to look at or to decide whether that basic stuff is affecting your health, because that's pointless. Just defeats the object. Right, on that note, I will finally get this video posted up. So take care, guys. I'm away next 2 days, so it's unlikely you'll hear from me again this week. Look how you've had 3 videos this week. That's a rarity these days. Take care, and I'll speak